aesthetics with the Benelli. This is the Benelli TRK 502. Yes, 500 cc's for such a big machine. However, I've had it for the weekend, thick end of 300 mile, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Ride wise, very comfy, very good seating position. I read an article in MCM, which I shouldn't have done, a review, and all I can say is that I don't know what he was thinking of. He's obviously not getting paid enough, but he said the brakes were spongy, didn't handle, no power, full of shite. Plenty of power, 70 twist and go. It does pick up quite well. It's not a super bike, but it's got enough. It's got enough grunt to keep you happy. Get me happy anyway. I'm not too keen on this sticking out. You'll see in a minute when we have a walk around the bike. Suspension's good, 50mm USD suspension. The uses for this thing, I've done light trail work on it, bit of grass work, absolutely fine, no problem. Standing up, however, slightly different because the pegs are too far forward. They need to be set back by about an inch and possibly down. Continental blasting all day long. This thing will commute and it will go across Europe. Fuel range, I fueled up at 200 miles and it still had fuel in it. It still had 2 bars of fuel, so I reckon I'd be getting a good 250 out of this minimum on a 20 litre tank, which I think is quite good. Brakes, stopping power is fantastic. ABS works a treat and you can switch it off. They were saying that they pulling the brakes on MCN and it was coming into the bar. I don't know what he was on, because you can't. I've tried a few emergency stops on this thing and it stops dead. There's no fade in, there's no pulse in. It's really good. Downside to the brakes are the span adjust is massive. I've got quite big hands, but I was struggling with the clutch. You can't adjust the clutch, but you can adjust the brake. We'll have a quick look around it and then I'll talk to you a bit more about it in detail. Bike itself, very aesthetically pleasing in my eyes. Like I say, it's a 500cc 4-valve parallel twin, liquid cooled, steel trellis frame, single shock, preload adjustable. This, I say, the braking, the 4-pot pistons is really good. Colours, red, white and black. I'm not going to talk about the power just yet. We'll have a look at a bit around the bike. I'll show you a few things that I really do like. Not too keen on this because it sticks out too far, but there you go. Okay. Can't say anything about ears, can I? Motor, really nice. Got a very V4 feel about it. Also, when you fire the thing up, make sure it's in neutral and doesn't fire off. It's got a very cross-tourer-ish twang to it. Quite like that. Build-wise, seems to be built well enough. Everything seems to be half decent quality. There's no rattles or squeaks or things not falling to bits on me yet. And I have ridden it, not hard, but you know. Luggage-wise, this is gets full givey luggage, the nice stuff. So that's a bonus rather than the cheap tat that you get from some manufacturers. With regards to the weight, it is a heavy bike and it is a big bike. But you know, comparing it to a Honda 500, it's not fair. This thing is like, it feels like it's got more power than the NC 700, a lot more power than the 500. But because it's so big, it gives you a real good feeling of when you're on the road, you don't feel vulnerable because it's a big machine. I mean, this is a big bike for what it is, for a 500. And that's what I liked about it. You don't feel vulnerable, you don't feel silly. It is a nice bike to ride. Got a 12 volt USB charger on the front, bit of a weird place to put it. I'd have put it up there. But other than that, if you come over, I'll show you the controls on this thing. If you're going to Europe, press of a button, kilometres, miles, kilometres, very simple. There's no gimmicks, there's nothing else like that. You've got your ABS button there, switch it on and off, high and low beam or a flash, high and low beam, indicators, push to cancel. The span, you can see what I mean by the size of the span on this thing. It's quite big even for me. Mirrors are great. Everything about it is quite nice. Conclusion: for £5,350 £5,350, that's a lot of bike. I would have this over Honda and your 500, your 700 any day. Really nice bike. Gets a big thumbs up from me.